has no meaning here. Your pain will make this worth my time.
Hello and welcome Exiles to a new video. Today I want to showcase just a build I've been working on with strength stacking. I don't know why I decided to do this. I was just thinking, I haven't done strength stacker in a while. I like doing strength stacker. This is a more, not the chaos variant with replica alberons. Replica alberons I think is clearly probably the best variant of strength stacker. This is more traditional with either a boom mace or just a mace with the fire mod that's crafted, or you can go brutus led sprinkler, and that's just going to be more damage. It's just going to be more single target. It has a base damage of 4 to 7 per 10 strength versus the influence mod, which is 2 to 4. What do you got, dude? You got the dehumidifier over here? Still getting it on the here? Is that what you need? We have 2 pretzels. As I was saying, it's a traditional strength stacker in that it's using basically the fire base damage per 10 strength mod. Now, what are we scaling besides that? Well, we are scaling into Iron Will. It gives you spell damage per strength. Normally, you can't scale your base fire damage with just the strength mod because it only applies to fizz damage. So what we do is we have this mod here, which makes it so we get spell damage based on that mod, based on the strength we get. And then we use a little war cry known as Battlemages Cry. This makes the spell damage from our strength apply to us, but it will go all the way up to 150% of that base value, and then that gets scaled past that with buff effect. So when I have buff effect on my tree for 30% here and 10% here, another pretzel, that gives me roughly about 210% of my strength spell damage bonus as damage applied to my attacks. So essentially what that means is for every 10 strength based on Iron Will, I'm getting 4% or 4.1% spell damage. So with a character that has almost 3,000 strength, we're looking at around 1,000 to 1,200% spell damage, maybe a little bit more. I'd like to get this character to 3,000. That was my goal originally. I'm only level 92. Probably can get there with just a few levels. Won't be a big deal. And then on top of that, we have other nice things like we're building around Chieftain. Now, normally strength stackers, you're going to see things like a cultist with the chaos variant or berserker, just because berserker has so much base attack damage scaling. I decided to do Chieftain because of how strong 2 commas War Herald is. I'm normally somebody who is a totem hater. I like to say no, totems are not fun, but I wanted to give it a try and see, okay, how good does this node feel? I know it's crazy powerful because it's giving you straight up like close to 50% more damage when you put your totems down. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try it out. Now, basically the majority of the time I played with it, I actually didn't end up hating it. I liked playing it with it while mapping. The only time where I fully remembered how much I don't like playing totems was in Ubers, because in most mapping scenarios with just these nodes over here, I didn't notice my totems dying. My totems just survived. I would erase the boss. Life would be good. It was only until I got to Ubers when Uber started to PK my totems, and it went from this at the beginning of the fight and then just have them up the entire rest of the fight to I'm resummoning them every time the Ubers take them out, because like every time an Uber eater would do his tentacle thing, it would kill all my totems. So instead of me putting them down once for an entire fight, it was me putting down totems multiple times. It's very punishing. So outside of Ubers, I actually didn't mind it too much, and it was really good damage wise, because these totems respectively, between the buff effect we're getting from 2 Kohamas War Herald and the buff effect from Panopticon, we're getting roughly around 150% of what our totems would normally give us, which is about 50% more attack speed and about, I want to say 50% more melee damage. And then on top of that, because I have the attack speed enchant here, that's another 50% increased attack speed. So just the difference in me not having a totem and then putting, for example, that totem down is a significant attack speed bonus, not to mention the multiplier to my melee damage. You'll see our damage with totems up is going to be much higher without them up. It's sort of thing where I just kind of remember to put them up every now and then when I'm in a boss fight, and it works pretty well. Outside of that, we're also going for Tassilio. Resistances are generally hard to cap with strength stackers, so having Tassilio giving us 100 fire res, it starts to make that res easier to cap. Not to mention, it gives us somewhat of a solution for fizz between Tassilio, our chest, or our helmets, and our shield, and then a Purity of Elements Watcher's Eye. We have about 40 to 50% fizz taken as. You want more pretzels? So it makes it actually easier for us to deal with fizz without going for something like determination, without trying to invest into a bunch of basically armor on our gear, stuff like that, while having a decent solution for this. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for the vast majority of content. On top of that, we also are running a haste just because I like to go faster, and then I have precision to cap my accuracy. I'm reserving it on our life pool so we have a bit of mana left over. I don't know if this is the most optimal way to set this up, but it gives us a way to have ailment immunity. It helps solve our res. Even though we have like terrible resistances on our gear, we have very little res on our gear, we still end up getting res capped for our elemental resistances. I don't want to talk about our chaos res because that's another story, and it's something where if you really were min-maxing this sort of build, you could gear it out, but at the same time, while I'm mapping, I haven't really died too much to it, and then maybe sometimes if I run into a Chayula or Hunter get some hits on me, it's gonna hurt a little bit because our chaos res is only -17. It's not terrible. Okay, it's pretty bad, but point is it's fine enough. And then on top of that, we went for the AoE mod on the mace. This is the difference. Well, I'll show you the difference real quick here. This is what it looks like without the AoE mod when we do a Sunder. Kind of, it's like okay or whatever, but it's really kind of sad. And then when we put the mace on that has the AoE mod, that's what it looks like. That's the difference. It's the difference in you shoot one mace out one direction and it just kills everything, versus you're gonna have to attack a few times. The difference though is this thing costs basically nothing. It's pretty much free. They're very common, pretty cheap items. Brutus lead sprinkler, you have them since level 28. They're great for leveling. They work fine. But the second you want to have a little bit girthier AoE, a little bit cooler clear, you want to feel good about yourself, you're gonna have to craft a boom mace. This is the difference in spending like 10 to 15 divines trying to craft one of these, and this isn't even a good craft, versus crafting one with or just buying a Brutus lead sprinkler and just dealing more damage. I have actually two setups right now because I've been swapping to Brutus lead sprinkler just to do like more single target on bosses, just to showcase that, hey, this does more single target. But boom mace is still fun though because it has the extra fiery impact and it still does okay damage. I think if you min-max and get a really nice craft, this can start to compete DPS wise with a Brutus lead sprinkler while also having that AoE, which is very nice to have. On top of that, other things we're doing is we're proccing Blood Rage, we're proccing Assassin's Mark, and we're proccing Hydrosphere with our Battlemage's Scribe. This means we don't need to do a mark on hit, so we have our full effective Assassin's Mark for crit multi and extra flat crit. We have Blood Rage getting proc because I always forget to trigger this normally, and that means we get Frenzy Charge while we're mapping, we get attack speed a little faster. And Hydrosphere, which means if we Sunder through Hydrosphere, a Shockwave will bounce off the Hydrosphere and hit the boss again. So it's a little bit extra boosted single target. I don't know how much it is. I'm still pretty new to Sunder, but so far I like it decently. You need some more pretzels? Yeah? Alright, there's some pretzels for you, little guy. Are you thirsty? You want some water? You want some water, okay. That pretty good stuff, little guy? Yeah. You like the dehumidifier? Oh. Yeah. It's pretty cool, isn't it, little dude? Yeah. Yeah, it blows out some wind, doesn't it? Is it cooling you down? Are you getting hot? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and give just a quick showcase of, I guess we'll do a Phoenix, just to showcase what it looks like while mapping. One other thing we're doing is besides having Red Blade Blander, because I'm sticking this in for the spell bit damage, I might as well do a Forbidden Flame and Flesh for Warbringer. This gives us the ability to put Berserk in the build. You know, whenever we want to DPS a boss, I just press Berserk and I just destroy them. Along with it gives us Rage Generation and a little bit of 50% more damage for exerted attack. So if we Warcry, press Berserk, and we have 5 attacks that are just going to rip the boss apart in terms of damage, and we deal it out very quickly. So that's what's going on with this character right here. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this look. I just wanted to do a Strength Stacker, just wanted to try it out. Strength Stacker's always been something I loved, so I've been enjoying putting this together. This isn't going to be a thorough build guide or anything, just going to be a POV you guys can check out, and yeah, it gives you a look at how I decided to build a Strength Stacker. Alright, here you come, some more pretzels, little guy. There you go. Don't drop them. Alright, and then you could also press Berserk while you open the or run the map or whatever, and then that gives you some extra speed throughout. Hopefully I explained most of the things what's going on with this character. I also wanted to give Sunder a try just because Sunder got a like 30% damage buff. It got a little bit of the speed increase. give it a look over, see what it feels like as a skill. And currently, I gotta be honest, I think it feels pretty good. I was never a Sunder main, so maybe I don't have the right to say that I like it, because, you know, somebody who played and knows Sunders and know what it used to do would be very offended by me saying that, right? But I am... What? As you can see, that's where we trigger Berserk. We have it for basically the majority of boss fights we're going to do. Everything up to pretty much Ubers, you pretty much are just one-shotting, and then it works out fine, and it doesn't really matter that that your Berserk time isn't like super permanent uptime. You have it for when you need the DPS, basically. So this is just this character I wanted to make. I wanted to try out doing strength stacking again. It's an archetype I love to go back to. I had a couple of strength stacking items I made earlier in the league that I'd sit in my stash, and I said, you know what, let's just throw it together and see what we can do. And this is the character we got. It's not overpowered, it's just decent. It's not really like crazy defensive or too crazy overpowered offensively. It's just pretty good, and I liked it. I just had fun doing it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching, and take care, Exiles. Peace out.